Hi guys, my name's Elliot Harlin Bethel, and this is my page about self-development, energy healing, and a lot of it's to do with fasting. So today I wanted to talk about the power in knowing that you're connected to everything. And when I say everything, I don't just mean each other, I don't just mean nature, and I don't just mean animals, I mean everything. So connected to the chair that you sit in, to the table that you sit down to eat dinner at, to every single thing you can see or sense with your five senses, you are connected to on a fundamental level. So when you realise this, there's no separation. And when there's no separation, for those of you that are into the law of attraction, it gets rid of all resistance, because you're not split from anything, you're part of everything. So when you're working with the law of attraction, it is very, very powerful, because your manifestations and your thoughts start to come to you very, very quickly. And on top of that, by realizing that you're connected to everything, but then also realizing at the same time that you don't have attachment to anything, puts you in a very, very powerful position. Because I'm not going to talk about it in full depth because it makes me cringe, but I've written about it in the comments below, so you can read it if you want to. But if you have something like I do called a cringe organ, no doubt you'll feel it pulsing away. I spent a lot of my time in my 20s spending money on ridiculous things, believing that at one point it was almost like these things defined who I was. And by doing that, I was giving my power over to these things, because then when they was taken away from me, I felt like a nobody. I didn't want to get out of bed for a week, and I just felt like shit and didn't want to face the world. Most people would have learnt sort of that time round, but I went in for a second time. And still, each time I had everything, I had the cars, the house, the watches, the girlfriends, the nights out, the expensive holidays. What I predominantly found was when I lost it all, and then I was driving around in a £250 car, which is fine, everything's about perception, I was happier, because when I was put in those situations, I had to step out of my comfort zone, and I had to learn, and I had to make the effort. And then if I got into a relationship, I started dating someone, I realised they was with me because of who I was and not because of what I had. And this is my ego playing tricks on me. But as I said, I went in for it a second time. And if this is part of the path you've chosen, then you're going to have to go for it. But I'm making this video, as I say, I make all of these videos mainly for myself, because this is my natural progression. And if you watch it and something resonates with you, then I'm hoping that it will help you, and maybe help you see something before it happens, or when it happens, you won't have to go through it a second time or a third time like I did. And by realizing that by doing that, I was giving my power away to something, I started to look at every energy leak and every power leak that I had. Like if I was a bucket and I had holes in, and I was pouring water in it, I was just pissing out energy from loads of different holes. And therefore, if I tried to help somebody from that bucket, which I was always trying to do because I was a very empathetic person, so people would always come to me for help. I'd always give them help, but I'm giving them help from a half full bucket. So not only is it not beneficial to me, it's not really beneficial to the other person, because the other person's energy field, the other person's higher self is going to be looking at you thinking, you can't help me, you haven't even helped yourself. Why should I take notice of you? And the reason I know this is because when I used to go to drug therapists, I'd sit there and my energy would pick up on these people as they hadn't been through taking loads of ecstasy, taking loads of cocaine, smoking heroin. They hadn't done any of this. And because my energy and my higher self picked up on this, that they hadn't gone through that, I was just like, what the fuck can you tell me? Like, all you've done is read a book, you've gone to college, someone's taught you something, you haven't experienced it. I can feel from your energy that you haven't gone through it, so I'm not going to listen to you. So by taking back my energy and then working on myself and releasing any energy blockages I had and filling any holes that I had, what I found started to happen was people would come to me for help, but I would help them, and I'd get more energy from helping someone. Instead of helping someone and having to go home and having to recover, like after a heavy session or something, I'd feel like I had more energy from helping someone. And then the more people I helped, the more energy I had. And then the more people were coming to me for help. And the more people I could tell were listening to me when I talked. So if you ever talk to someone and you can tell it's just going straight over their head, it's because they're not really resonating with what you're saying, or they're not ready to hear what you're saying. But if someone's paying real good attention and you can tell by their energy and their eyes are on you and they're really focused, then you can tell that what you're saying is having a real connection with that person. You've made an energy connection, and what you're saying is helping that person. And from having that energy exchange, you'll undoubtedly get some energy back. Interestingly enough, in some of my talks I say we are all actually angels, and the word angel in Greek, angelos, translates to messenger. But if you're not resonating to the person you're sending the message to, it's a wasted message, and it's not beneficial for either of you. But if you're resonating together and you have that connection, when you give that message to someone, you undoubtedly get a message back. Whether it's from that person or not, you might walk off and then walk into a synchronicity and be like, ah, thank you. Just got that from that, more please. Want more of that to come along, and more of it generally does come along when you realise you've done that and it's been an energy exchange that's been passed on down the line. When you start to notice these energy exchanges, you try to make sure that each energy exchange you have with each person is for the highest good for the highest number of people. So instead of getting into a conversation with someone and thinking it's going to be more beneficial for me if I do this, but I know it's not going to be beneficial for that person, either find a middle ground, or if you can find a way where the energy exchange is equal, then that's the highest situation. And when you do that, every energy exchange you have becomes a very good energy exchange. And undoubtedly you find that any bad energy just can't come near you, because you're vibrating at a level where it just doesn't affect you. It just bounces straight off you. Someone can say, that person's really angry and really pissed off, and yet you'll have an interaction with them and you'll bring out the higher self of that person, because you're vibrating at a level where you bring out that person's higher self. Whereas that other person that's had a low vibration conversation might have been vibrating at a lower vibration, and they've brought out the lower version of that person, because vibrations attract. So this is going on from the conversation I had about to find a partner if you match your vibration. Yeah, so everything is an energy exchange. You can actually, when you start the beginning of your day, if you set an intention that everybody that you interact with on that day, you interact with them for the highest good, for the highest number, and you want to speak only to each person's highest self, you'll find that it's almost like putting into practice the Ho'oponopono practice, which I've made a previous video. I'll put a link up here. So Ho'oponopono is when you visualize, you meditate into a theta brainwave, you connect with someone you've had an argument with, you say, sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, you give them a hug, you hand them a present, and what happens is that clears the energy field between you and that person. And when you see that person next, the person will look at you and it's almost like they'll be like, the air's been cleared and I can't understand why, because you've made that middle ground and you've sorted it out in the astral but not in the physical. We have many different types of bodies, but the main three we work with are the astral, the mental and the physical, which incidentally makes a pyramid. So putting the three into one. And when you work how to unify these three bodies and use them together, everything in your world becomes so much easier. Things just come to you. As I said, when you vibrate at a level of the things you want, they come to you, you don't chase them. And when you chase things, they tend to run away from you. So if you'd like any more information on this, then please do comment in the boxes below. Please like, subscribe and share and follow all of my pages on Instagram. Instagram is Mind, Body, Soul and Spirit Coach. YouTube, which you're watching this on most probably, is Mind, Body, Soul and Spirit Coach. On Facebook it's R666HA13. And on Facebook, my personal page, if you want to follow that, is Elliot Harlin Bethel. Excuse me. So I hope you're all having a really, really good start to your week. It's Monday. It's been a pretty phenomenal start to the year for me. I'm hoping you're all finding that the energy and the synchronicities and the opportunities that are just popping up out of nowhere from all the work that you've done last year and all the seeds you planted and watered are really starting to grow right now. Because that's generally what happens this time of year. Yep, love you all. Wish you all the greatest start to your week, and I hope you're enjoying this video. Thanks a lot. See you soon.